Every morning, your first thoughts shape your fate. Tell yourself you're tired and your day drags. Tell yourself you're powerful and you become powerful. Your mind follows your voice. Speak truth before doubt arrives. Say the right words and your actions will obey. Your morning self-talk isn't routine, it's your launch pad. Use it with intent. In a few moments, I will teach you how powerful morning affirmations can reshape your mindset, direction, energy, and entire life. Today, I begin anew. Every morning, you wake up to a clean slate. The ink of yesterday has dried. What matters now is what you choose to write today. But too many rise and carry forward the weight of old mistakes, as if failure is permanent. It's not. Failure is feedback. Yesterday was your teacher. Today is your opportunity. You begin anew when you decide to. When you step out of bed and say, no matter what happened before, I decide who I am now. That's real freedom. To choose your attitude, to define your day, not let it define you. So how do you begin anew? By refusing to dwell, by getting dressed with purpose, by walking into your life like a man on a mission. When you act like it's day one, your mind resets. You see possibility, not pattern. Imagine a soldier waking at dawn. Does he think of yesterday's fatigue? No. He straps his boots. He moves forward. Can you do the same? What if today really was your first day on earth? What would you try? Who would you become? You get to decide, because no one owns your direction but you. I control my focus. Your mind is like a lantern. Wherever you point it, that's what gets lit. But most people walk through life letting the light scatter, flickering from one worry to the next. No wonder they feel lost. You're not like that. You don't drift. You direct. Every morning, remind yourself, I control what I focus on. Not the noise, not the doubts, not what others are doing. Only what moves you closer to your goal. Focus sharpens your purpose. Without it, your power dissolves. So how do you master it? Begin with your first thoughts. What are you feeding your mind? Is it fear or is it fuel? Speak your focus aloud. Write it down. Hold it in front of you like a compass. Picture a man building a house. If he stares at the neighbor's yard, will his walls rise? Of course not. But if he lays brick after brick, unmoved by distraction, a home stands tall. Which one are you becoming? Ask yourself. Are you chasing scattered sparks or building a steady flame? I am stronger than I feel. Strength isn't always a shout. It doesn't always wear a crown or raise its voice. Sometimes, strength is the man who wakes up sore and still chooses to build. Sometimes it's the woman who carries burdens no one sees and still gives her best. Real strength doesn't beg for recognition. It reveals itself in quiet persistence. The worker who returns to the grind despite fatigue, the parent who keeps giving without applause, the soul who gets back up after every fall. This is strength, and you have it. Even when it feels far, it's there. Even when you doubt, it's waiting. Strength doesn't disappear just because you feel weak. It hides beneath your hesitation, waiting for action to bring it forward. Feelings are not facts. They shift with the wind. 1 hour confident, the next filled with doubt. But your will, that's different. It's anchored. It's deeper than fear, louder than exhaustion. Feelings will whisper that you're not ready, that you should rest, that today, but those whispers aren't your voice, they're distractions. You don't need to feel powerful to act with power. You only need to decide. Strength begins with a decision, not a sensation. You choose to rise. You choose to continue, and through that choice, your inner power awakens. Even when your emotions lag behind, each morning, speak this truth. I am stronger than I feel. Say it out loud if you must, not for motivation, but as a command, as a declaration of who you are becoming. Refuse to wait for the perfect feeling. Refuse to delay until confidence shows up. Move without it. Begin anyway. Action is what trains emotion. It's what teaches your body and mind that you are capable. As you move forward, the fear will fade. The strength you thought was missing will rise, because you activated it through movement, not feeling. What does strength look like? It's doing what needs to be done before your excuses start speaking. It's choosing the task when your mind suggests delay. It's moving your body when your feelings beg for comfort. Real strength is not emotional, it's decisional. Every time you act before your mood approves, you sharpen your edge. You show yourself what you're really made of, and slowly, day by day, you stop needing motivation because discipline takes over. And discipline, once awakened, becomes a fire that keeps burning. Picture this. You wake before the sun. The house is still. No audience, no rewards, just silence. And your decision. You lace your boots. You lift the pen. You open the book. You train. You show up. That quiet choice, that invisible victory, that's the real strength. Not loud, not flashy, just undeniable. The kind of strength that builds legacies. The kind of strength that doesn't need applause to grow. Ask yourself, are you following your feelings, or are you finally leading them into action? Because once you lead them, they'll follow. And you'll discover, you've been strong all along. I am responsible for my life. There's a sacred moment each morning, a moment before the world's noise enters, before the distractions begin, when you must decide, will I take command or will I drift? Most men don't even see this moment. They rise late and react to the day like victims of fate. And when life hits them hard, they look outward. They blame the government, their job, their upbringing. They point at everything, except themselves. But the man who wins, he refuses to play the blame game. He stands in front of the mirror and says, it's on me. That's where power begins, not in perfection, but in ownership. Responsibility isn't a weight, it's a weapon. It separates men who lead from men who complain. When you take full ownership of your life, you become unshakable. No longer are you at the mercy of others' actions, no longer controlled by fate or fear. You become your own authority. The moment you stop blaming is the moment you start building. You don't need permission. You don't need a lucky break. You need one thing, to say, it's my life and I will shape it. That's the highest form of power. A man who owns his path, no matter how broken it began. Speak it daily. I am responsible for my life. Speak it with conviction, even when your life feels like a mess. Especially then, because only the responsible man can repair what's broken. Only the responsible man can rebuild from the ruins. If your health is failing, change your habits. If your mind is cloudy, sharpen it with truth. If your work is unfulfilling, create something better. Responsibility means you're not waiting for a rescue helicopter. You are the rescue. You climb, you crawl, you rise, not because it's easy, but because it's yours to carry. So how do you live this truth? Through decisions, not talk, not intentions, decisions. Every meal you eat is a vote for strength or for sickness. Every hour you use is a seed planted for harvest or for regret. Every conversation you enter builds your character or corrodes it. There are no neutral choices. You are casting votes all day long, and the man who realizes this becomes powerful, not overnight, but with every conscious step. Responsibility isn't just in big moments. It's in the small choices that quietly shape your entire life. Picture a captain at sea. A storm rises, thunder cracks, waves roar. Does he sit down and complain about the weather? Does he curse the ocean? No. He stands up. He takes the wheel. He studies the winds. He adjusts the sails. He leads not because he controls the storm, but because he controls the ship. That's what you must become. Life will not stop throwing storms your way. But storms aren't your enemy. Passivity is. Blame is. The man who blames the sea never reaches the shore. But the one who leads, no matter the storm, always finds his way. So ask yourself this: who's steering your ship this morning? Is it the part of you that complains, waits, delays? Or is it the part of you that acts, builds, endures? Because every day you wake up, the wheel is in front of you. And you have two options: grab it or drift. Let others waste their time blaming. Let others wait for smoother tides. But you steer, you correct, you move forward. You may not control the storm, but you can always control the course. That's responsibility. That's power. I speak power into my day. Words are not noise. They are not filler. They are not decoration. Words are commands. Every sentence you speak becomes a seed planted deep in the mind, shaping what grows next. Say you're tired long enough and your body obeys. Call yourself unlucky and life will mirror it. But speak strength and your spirit stands taller. Declare resilience and your muscles tighten with. You are not just speaking about your life, you are speaking into it. That's why weak words are dangerous. They shrink you, they make you soft. But powerful words, they sharpen you. They make you unstoppable. Each morning you face a choice. Not just what to wear, not just what to eat, but what to say. What you say when you rise sets the rhythm for the entire day. Will you speak defeat before the battle even begins? Or will you choose words that prepare your soul to win? The man who rises in power speaks with purpose. He says, I am focused, I am ready, I am disciplined. And in time, his body, mind, and habits fall in line with those declarations. He becomes what he says. because he chooses to speak life, not laziness. So how do you use this truth? Simple. Don't wait for the world to speak to you. You speak first. The news or someone's complaint set your tone. You set it. Wake up and command the day. Look yourself in the mirror and declare, I don't shrink, I rise. This day belongs to me. Speak it before fear has a chance to whisper, before doubt rolls in. Words are like fire. If you light them early, they'll burn through anything the world throws at you. Imagine two men waking side by side. One stretches, groans, and mutters, "It's too early, I hate this." And what happens? His shoulders slump. His pace slows. He walks into the day already defeated. The other man, he opens his eyes and says, "Let's go, I was built for this." His spine straightens. His steps are sharp. By noon, one is drowning in excuses, the other is halfway to victory. And the only difference? Words. One cursed the day, the other commanded it. Now ask yourself, which one do you want to be? Start small, start real. Declare before you doubt. Your words are either weapons or weights. They're lifting you or they're chaining you. There is no neutral speech. Every word adds fuel or steals it. And you, my friend, must become a master of the spoken battle. Bless your day before it begins. Say, I am focused. I am calm. I am relentless. Say it even if you don't feel it, especially then, because the feelings will follow your voice. And soon your reality will match the words you've chosen to live by. This is not magic. It's maturity. Weak men wait to feel strong before they speak strong. But warriors know that speech comes first. The sword of the tongue shapes the path of the body. So speak it every single day. Don't just talk about goals. Declare them. Don't just wish for discipline. Claim it out loud. Let your language be your armor. Let your voice build your destiny. Say it until your feet move. Say it until your habits form. Say it until your results catch up to your beliefs. Ask yourself, are your words sharpening your blade or dulling your edge? Are they fueling your fight or feeding your fears? Every word is a choice. Every sentence is a step. If you want to rise, speak upward. Speak forward. Speak boldly. Because the man who controls his mouth, he eventually controls his future. Let the world murmur doubt. Let the weak complain. But you command, you conquer, you create with every word. I am bigger than any obstacle. When something blocks your path, your mind has two choices, shrink or rise. Most people shrink. They let the obstacle whisper lies like, this is the end, or you weren't meant to win. They treat every delay as a denial, every struggle as a sign to stop. But you're not most people. You weren't made to back down. You weren't born to bow. You were built to climb. Every great man you admire once stood where you stand, face to face with something that looked bigger than him, but instead of folding, he rose. You must do the same, because obstacles don't break the man. They reveal him. There's something powerful that happens when you rise inside before anything changes outside. The problem might still be there, the weight might still press down, but your posture changes. Your energy changes. You begin to see the obstacle differently, not as a wall, but as a test. Every time you speak power to yourself, you chip away at the lie that you're too small. Say this aloud, I am bigger than this. Because you are. Your voice, your will, your determination, they are stronger than the challenge if you let them lead. You don't need the mountain to move. You need your spirit to grow. Stop waiting for the world to get easier. It won't. Life doesn't soften for the unprepared. It sharpens the prepared. And that's what you are now becoming. Stronger, sharper, more committed. The stronger your spirit, the smaller the problem becomes. Look back. How many impossible things have you already survived? So what makes this one different? This isn't a punishment. It's a platform. It's not here to stop you. It's here to shape you. When your back is against the wall, don't collapse. Expand. The man who wins is the one who grows bigger than the problem. He doesn't wait for the storm to pass. He learns how to walk through rain. Every hardship you face has a gift hidden inside it, but only the determined discover it. Why? Because most people stop at discomfort. But discomfort is not a warning, it's an invitation to grow, to transform, to become unshakable. If you run from every hard thing, you'll never meet the strongest version of yourself. But if you lean in, you'll rise above it. So how do you rise? First, look at the obstacle, then look at yourself. Now ask, which one is more permanent? The obstacle only lives as long as you allow it. The moment you decide to solve it, move through it, or learn from it, it begins to lose its power. But if you hesitate, it grows. It feeds on your delay. That's why you must respond quickly, with strength, not fear, with vision, not confusion. Your future doesn't bow to your obstacles. It waits for you to face them. Let's make this simple. Problems only last as long as you refuse to act. They don't vanish on their own. They fade because you outgrow them, because you got up one more time, because you chose progress over pity. The moment you say, "I'm done being stuck," you're not the same man anymore. You don't need permission to change. You don't need anyone to rescue you. You just need a made-up mind. Once you commit fully, without doubt, the obstacle shrinks to its true size. And that's the moment you rise. Picture this. A man walks down a path and a giant boulder blocks his way. One man sits. He waits. Maybe the wind will move it. Maybe help will arrive. But nothing happens. Years pass. The boulder becomes part of his identity. But another man sees the same boulder and grabs a chisel. He doesn't whine. He doesn't wait. He starts cutting steps into the very rock meant to stop him. He climbs higher with every strike. And one day he looks back, not just at the mountain he moved, but the strength he gained by refusing to quit. Obstacles are mirrors. They don't show you the world. They show you yourself. When a problem makes you freeze, it's not the problem. It's the belief behind it. Maybe you've said, "I can't," or "This always happens to me." Break that belief. Replace it. Speak power even when you feel powerless. Say, "This ends with me." Say, "I rise now." Because when your mind believes it, your body follows. Your habits shift, your spirit lifts. And suddenly, the thing that scared you now empowers you. You must learn this. Difficulty is not defeat. It's demand. A demand for strength, for creativity, for persistence. When something blocks you, it's not telling you to stop. It's asking, how bad do you want it? And if your answer is bad enough to endure, to learn, to rise, then the obstacle becomes your path. Don't waste time asking, why me? Start asking, what must I become to break this? That question changes everything. It makes you the builder, not the victim. The victor, not the excuse maker. So I'll ask you one last thing. Are you bowing to your problem, or are you standing taller than it? Every moment you hesitate, the obstacle wins. Every moment you rise, you reclaim your power. There is no easy path, only the path you carve. The road doesn't clear itself, but you can clear the doubt. You can outlast the pain. You can overpower the fear, rise above what blocks you, and soon others will follow the path you created through the storm they once feared. Be that man, build that path, rise. My actions shape my future. You don't stumble into success. You build it. One decision, one action, 1 hour at a time. The man who rises is not the one who waits for opportunity. He is the one who makes it. Every morning, you wake with the same question burning in front of you. Will you shape this day or let it shape you? The weak man wanders. The strong man works. The one who wins doesn't chase perfection. He builds progress. He doesn't blame his past or fear his future. He grabs hold of the present because he knows this hour is power. This day is direction. The past, gone. The future, not promised. But the present, that's your tool, your sword, your pen. And every move you make today carves into your destiny. Every step, no matter how small, is either sculpting a champion or sabotaging one. When you understand that, you no longer waste days. You use them. You no longer wait for motivation. You create momentum. So declare it now. My actions shape my future. Say it again. Let it burn into your thinking. Because the man you want to become is being shaped right now by what you choose to do next. Success doesn't happen in a moment. It happens in a rhythm of discipline, a rhythm of sacrifice, a rhythm of choosing progress over comfort. And that rhythm begins the moment you wake. That's why you must start your day on purpose. Don't wander. Don't drift into reaction. Instead, command the day. Wake up and go straight into forward motion. Even 5 minutes of focused energy can spark an entire shift in momentum. Choose one hard thing and do it first. Why? Because the hard thing unlocks your inner strength, and that strength sets the tone for everything else. The man who wins isn't always the fastest or the smartest. He's the one who moves while others hesitate. So move. Don't wait to feel ready. Don't wait for the perfect plan. Perfection is the lie that keeps man idle. Action is the truth that wakes man up. If your heart is beating and your feet can move, you have enough to start. Let motion bring clarity. Let forward steps reveal what standing still never will. Each step you take teaches you something. What works, what doesn't, and most importantly, who you really are when it matters. How do you turn that motion into power? By acting with intention. Most people are busy, but few are building. Don't confuse activity with progress. You must aim. Every action should move you toward your highest vision, not just keep you occupied. Ask yourself before every task, does this matter? If the answer is no, drop it. If the answer is yes, double down. Your life is not a to-do list, it's a blueprint, and every stroke must be deliberate. Wasted motion leads to wasted life. But focused action, that builds a legacy. Picture this. A craftsman stands before raw wood. In his mind, he sees a throne. But that vision means nothing until his hands move. He must reach for his chisel, shape with precision, and sweat into the work. Every tap, every cut, every adjustment brings the future into form. The same is true for you. Dreams without discipline die as fantasies. But discipline with direction, that's creation. That's power. So, what tool will you pick up today? Will you write, build, train, speak? Whatever it is, make sure it shapes, not just fills your day. Now imagine the opposite. A man with ambition, but no action. He talks, he plans, he even means well, but nothing gets built. His energy bleeds out in conversations, not creation. His confidence withers because nothing moves. That's the tragedy of idle ambition. It feels like something, but builds nothing. You must not fall into that trap. Talk less, act more. Speak with your hands. Let your results do the talking. And let the silence of your focused effort be louder than the noise of 1,000 empty intentions. It's easy to stay busy, to check boxes, to call it a day because you were productive. But were you effective? Did you build something real today or just manage the chaos? Stop measuring your worth in minutes. Start measuring in moves. One move toward your dream is worth more than 10 hours of maintenance. Start your morning with a plan, but end it with a proof. Proof that you acted like a builder. Proof that you chose progress. Proof that you didn't just talk about the future. You started carving it. And what if you slip? What if the morning gets away from you? Start again. Midday, evening, midnight. There's always a place to begin again. The builder's mind doesn't look for a perfect schedule. It looks for the next brick. So pick it up, stack it, and then the next. You don't rise in a day, but you do rise daily. Bit by bit, blow by blow. You don't wait for breakthroughs, you build into them, one quiet, consistent strike at a time. So ask yourself, with total honesty, are your actions leading somewhere, or are you just staying busy? The difference will define everything. Every action is either laying a foundation or wasting material. And at the end of your days, the man you become will be the sum of the decisions you made when no one was watching. So move with meaning, strike with purpose, build like your future depends on it, because it does. You don't stumble into greatness, you forge it, one focused hour at a time. I decide what defines me. The world will try to name you lazy, average, broken. It will reach for labels that shrink you. Labels rooted in your lowest moments, your worst decisions, your past failures. But hear this, those are not your labels unless you wear them, unless you agree, unless you bow to someone else's definition. Every morning, you get the chance to decide who you are. So say it aloud. I decide what defines me. Not your parents, not your boss, not your failures, you. That choice is yours, and if you don't make it, someone else will. You are not your past. Your past is a chapter, not your character. It's part of the story, but it's not your name. You are not your scars, your mistakes, your low points. Those may explain where you've been, but they do not dictate where you can go. What matters is this: what do you do next? Your power lies not in perfection, but in persistence, not in being untouched by failure, but in being unmoved by it. People will speak. They always do. They'll whisper, judge, assume. Let them. You don't have to argue. You don't have to explain. You simply build, you live, you work, you act, and through your actions you name yourself. You become undeniable. You stop answering to noise and start responding to your own purpose. Because when you act with clarity, you walk with power. No one can define the man who knows exactly who he is. No one can shrink the one who stands tall from within. So how do you define yourself? With clarity. You get still. You stop running from your truth and you look it dead in the eye. You ask yourself, what do I stand for? What do I refuse to compromise? What do I want my name to mean when I'm gone? These aren't easy questions. That's why few ask them. But if you do, if you dared to decide who you are before the world tries to tell you, then you'll rise above the noise. And more than that, you'll walk in purpose. Your identity is not a discovery, it's a decision. You choose your identity every day through your principles, your work, and your vision. If you say you are disciplined, then show it. If you say you are resilient, then prove it. Don't wait for someone to see your worth. Live in a way that forces the world to respect it. Stop accepting titles you never agreed to. Start earning the ones you want. And remember, each act is not just a task. It's a declaration of who you're becoming. The world will try to attach its limits to your name. He's not that smart. She's not leadership material. They're just average, but you don't have to carry those names. Break them, burn them, replace them. The man who changes his life begins with this one shift. He stops listening to what others call him and starts calling himself what he intends to become. Don't ask the world for permission to rise. Declare who you are and then become it day by day through your actions. Imagine two men. Both were rejected. Both were overlooked. One hears it and says, I guess they're right. He folds. He fades. He carries the world's label like a badge. The other hears it and says, watch me. He doesn't argue. He doesn't explain. He executes. A year later, one is still explaining, still defending, still hoping someone will approve. The other, he walks into the room and the room listens, not because he was given respect, but because he commanded it by how he lived. This is the power of naming yourself. When you name yourself, the world adjusts. They may laugh at first, they may resist, but if you stay the course, if your actions match your declaration, they'll have no choice but to change their view, because they can't ignore what becomes consistent. They can't deny what becomes undeniable. You don't need to shout it, you just need to live it. Live in a way that makes your identity visible, without needing approval, applause, or agreement. And yes, it takes courage. Naming yourself isn't easy. It means rejecting comfort. It means refusing victimhood. It means saying, I am not what happened to me, I am what I do about it. Most people never make this shift. They wait for someone to validate them, to rescue them, to crown them. But the strongest men crown themselves. They don't just hope to be seen, they build a life that cannot be ignored. That begins with naming yourself before the world gets a chance to do it for you. So now ask yourself, are you letting others define you? Are you carrying names that don't belong to you? Or have you made the decision to name yourself, to become the author of your identity? Because this is where freedom begins, not when people finally see your value, but when you decide it. When you stand in the mirror and say, this is who I am, this is what I stand for, and no matter what they say, I will prove it with how I live. Your name is not what they call you, your name is what you respond to. And every day you write it with your choices, your habits, your standards. If you want a new life, give yourself a new name, and then live in a way that makes it real. Let your focus declare it, let your effort define it, and let the world adjust to you. Because once you know who you are, no one can name you again. I am not afraid of effort. Most people crave ease. They want results without resistance, rewards without responsibility. They pray for shortcuts, chase comfort, and fear the sweat that real progress demands. But the man who rises knows the truth. Effort is a gift. The sweat, the grind, the long hours, they aren't burdens. They are blessings in disguise. They mold your discipline, sharpen your focus, and forge your future. You weren't made for soft paths. You were built for the uphill. The climb doesn't destroy you, it reveals you. Resistance doesn't stop you, it shapes you. The man who understands this doesn't run from difficulty. He runs into it. Each morning, say it out loud. I am not afraid of effort. Let that be your war cry. Let it echo louder than your excuses, because effort is the price of greatness. And you're willing to pay it. You know ease has never built a champion. Ease breeds weakness. But effort builds empires. Every drop of sweat you pour into your mission is an investment, one that compounds over time into confidence, skill, and unshakable character. You may not feel the reward today, but it's coming, because effort never goes unnoticed by life. Effort is not pain, it's proof. Proof that you're moving forward. Proof that you're committed. When your muscles burn, when your mind resists, when the task gets heavy, that's when most people stop. But that's when you begin. You outwork the voice that says stop. You silence the doubt with motion. You replace hesitation with hustle. How? By starting with the hardest task, the thing you've been avoiding. That's your proving ground. The man who wins tackles the hard thing first, because it demands the most and reveals the most. Don't wait for motivation. Don't wait for it to feel right. Start with intention, start with pressure, move even if you don't feel ready, especially when you don't feel ready. That's how you separate yourself from the average, from the weak, from the talkers. Sweat with dignity, grind with purpose, and know this, Every ounce of effort spent in silence will one day shout through your results. Let others avoid the weight. You carry it. Let others quit when it's heavy. You get stronger because struggle doesn't scare you, it trains you. Imagine a farmer tilling the soil. The sun beats down, his hands are blistered, his back aches. But he doesn't complain. He doesn't wait for someone else to do it. He keeps digging, planting, watering, day after day. Why? Because he knows the truth. The harvest only belongs to the man who works, not the one who watches, not the one who talks. The one who sweats, the man who wakes up early, shows up when tired, and keeps going when others stall. That's the man who reaps. That's the man who wins. Your life is your field, and the ground is hard for everyone. But only those willing to break it, shape it, and work it, only they will taste the fruit. Most want to skip the process and enjoy the reward, but you're not most people. You've chosen character over comfort. You've chosen effort over ease. You've chosen the grind, and that choice will take you where shortcuts never can. It's not about what's easy, it's about what's earned. There will be days when nothing feels like it's working, when the effort seems invisible, but that's when the roots are growing deepest. That's when the foundation is being laid. Most people quit right before the breakthrough, right before the reward, but the man who endures, the one who trusts the process, he reaps what others only dream of, because success isn't random, it's reserved for the committed, for the consistent, for the ones who keep hammering when the rest lose faith. That man becomes unstoppable. Let pain be your permission. The ache means you're building. The strain means you're growing. When others see discomfort as a sign to stop, you see it as a sign to push further. There's honor in hard work, in showing up even when no one's watching, in doing the unseen, the unglamorous, the uncelebrated tasks, because those are the moments that forge champions. And when the world finally sees what you've built, they'll think it happened overnight. But you'll know it was paid for in sweat. It was earned, inch by inch. You don't rise by accident. You rise by intention, by deciding that every day is a chance to get sharper. You don't fear effort. You invite it. You don't run from the grind. You make it your ally. Let others take the easy path. Let others beg for breaks. You build your edge in the friction because you know that struggle creates strength and pressure reveals power. You don't want an easy life. You want a strong one, a earned one, a life built with effort, owned with pride. So ask yourself, are you choosing comfort over character? Are you staying soft when you should be sharpening? Or are you ready to earn the life others only wish for? The world rewards the man who works, not the one who whines, not the one who wishes, the one who works. That man gets stronger. That man becomes wiser. That man gets what he came for. Choose effort. Choose discomfort. Choose to sweat. Because greatness never bows to the lazy. It waits for the man who shows up and earns it. One drop at a time. One battle at a time. One day at a time. I don't wait for motivation. I build discipline. Motivation is a visitor. It knocks, it whispers, and it vanishes. Some days it wakes you up like a spark. Other days it's nowhere to be found. And if that's all you rely on, you'll stay inconsistent, confused, and powerless. But discipline? That's your house. That's your foundation. It doesn't care about feelings. It stands when you're tired. It moves when you feel stuck. It shows up when motivation goes missing. The men who win don't depend on how they feel. They depend on what they do. Because what you do, especially when you don't feel like it, is what makes you different. Every morning, declare it. I don't wait for motivation. I build discipline. Let those words become law, then back them with action. Discipline is not born in comfort. It's born in friction. When you rise while others sleep, when you move while others make excuses, when you begin before you feel ready, that's when discipline is forged. One act, one move, one task that says, I keep my word, no matter what. Discipline is not about extremes. It's about repetition. You don't become great from one perfect day. You become great by doing what matters daily, even on the off days, especially on the off days. You said you'd do it, so do it. Not for the praise, not for the feeling, but for the standard. Every time you honor your own word, your confidence grows. You don't need approval from others when you trust yourself. That trust, it's built in silence. It's earned through sweat. And it begins with one decision. Show up the cold mornings, the tired evenings, the long, unrewarded stretches. These are not setbacks. They are tests. Discipline is built when no one sees you, when the applause is gone and it's just you and the task. The world watches the highlight, but the man who wins lived through the routine. Not glamorous, not loud, but relentless. You keep showing up, not because it's exciting, but because you said you would. That integrity, that consistency, that's power. Picture a blacksmith. He stands over the fire, hammer in hand. Some days the flame roars, some days it sputters, some days the steel bends easily. Other days it resists, but the blacksmith doesn't stop. He swings over and over because he knows the form is in the process. The beauty is in the repetition. Your life is no different. Your habits are your hammer. Your decisions are your strikes. And the future you want, it's the steel. Keep swinging, especially when it's hard. That's how greatness is shaped. Don't wait for the right moment. There is no perfect time. There's only now. The undisciplined man waits. He waits for energy. He waits for inspiration. He waits for everything to feel just right. But the disciplined man, he acts. He doesn't need the fire to be perfect. He brings the heat. He knows the fire will burn brighter once the hammer swings. He doesn't wait for momentum. He creates it through movement. So ask yourself, have you swung your hammer today? Discipline is freedom. It's the power to choose what's hard now, so life becomes easier later. Most people choose ease and stay trapped. You choose discomfort and get stronger because you know that each disciplined act builds resilience, builds structure, builds you. The man who trains when it's inconvenient, works when it's thankless, and improves when it's unnoticed, that man can't be shaken. He becomes undeniable, not because he's lucky, but because he refused to break his rhythm. And it's not about being emotionless. You will feel tired. You will feel doubt. You will hear that voice say, just this once, skip it. But that's the moment discipline matters most. That's when you train your mind to lead, not follow. You override emotion with decision. You choose your mission over your mood. And with each override, you gain ground. With each override, you get stronger. Until one day, you don't need to fight as hard because it's who you are. Understand this. The disciplined man is rare. He's not controlled by weather, emotions, or moods. He's led by principles. He doesn't just want results, he earns them. Every day, through effort, through focus, through habits no one sees, but everyone eventually respects. And that's the man who wins. The one who doesn't chase motivation, but commands himself. And because he commands himself, others follow, others trust. Because they know when he says it, he'll do it. So what's your pattern? Do you swing the hammer daily or only when you feel like it? Do you treat your habits like law or suggestions? Your answer is the difference between growth and stagnation, between power and passivity, between becoming and merely wishing. Don't let your potential rot under the weight of inconsistency. Strike, swing, move, even when it's quiet, especially when it's quiet, because that's when your discipline is being carved into your soul. Let today be proof, not of what you hope to do, but of what you did. Show yourself that you don't need to feel perfect, you only need to be consistent. Show the world that your name stands for effort, for action, for discipline. And when others look back years from now wondering how you did it, they'll never guess it was built one simple swing at a time. But you'll know, you didn't wait for motivation. You built discipline. That's why you won. That's why you're still winning. My thoughts create my world. Every building you see, every cathedral that scrapes the sky, every bridge that spans rivers, every invention that reshaped history began in one place. A quiet, invisible corner of imagination and belief. Someone dared to see what wasn't yet real. Your life is no different. What you think, you begin to build. What you permit to linger in your mind becomes the blueprint of your future. Not immediately, not obviously, but steadily and surely. Your repeated thoughts form a pattern. That pattern becomes belief. That belief becomes decision. And your decisions, they shape everything. You don't experience life as it is. You experience it as you think it is. Perception becomes your personal truth. A man who believes he is powerless will walk through life like a prisoner, even when the door is unlocked. He'll hesitate when he could lead. He'll bow when he should rise. But a man who believes he was born to lead, his back straightens, his voice sharpens. His presence commands attention because belief gives him form. That's why every morning, before the world invades your space, you must speak truth into your mind. My thoughts create my world, not in fantasy, but in direction. When you believe in strength, you act boldly. When you believe in focus, you move decisively. And when you believe you're meant to grow, you find yourself stepping forward even in resistance. Thoughts are not decorations. They are instructions. And if you don't choose them, the world will choose them for you. So how do you take control? It begins with guarding the gate. Your mind is not a dumping ground for random, fearful, anxious chatter. It's your command center. And like any center of power, it must be protected. When a weak thought arises, I'm not enough, or what if I fail? You don't negotiate. You reject it immediately. And in its place, you plant something stronger. I am focused. I am building. I am prepared. Say it not just once, but until your soul begins to align with it. Think of your mind as a garden. If a gardener lets weeds grow unchecked, they overtake the soil, stealing nutrients, stunting growth. But a wise gardener inspects daily. He uproots weeds early. He plants intentionally. He waters what he wants to grow. Your thoughts are no different. They're the seeds, and you are the one planting. If your mental soil is filled with doubt, fear, comparison, how can you expect a harvest of confidence, success, and purpose? You can't. You must tend your thoughts as carefully as you would your future. This takes repetition. You don't think strong thoughts once and expect your life to transform. You train your mind daily just like you would train a muscle. Each thought is a rep. Each affirmation, a strike at the old limitations. The more you speak power, the more your mind adjusts its default wiring. You reprogram your internal script by force, by consistency. Weak thoughts will still try to rise, but now you have the habit of answering back. And that's when you start to win. Most people never examine their thoughts. They assume every inner voice is true. But the mind is an echo chamber of past experiences, fears, and other people's opinions. You must interrupt it. Ask, is this thought helping me or harming me? If it's shrinking you, weaken it. If it's elevating you, strengthen it. This is the difference between mental slavery and mental mastery. You either believe every passing thought, or you become the architect who filters, reshapes, and commands them into form. The man who builds a powerful life starts by building a powerful mind. And a powerful mind isn't one that's always positive, it's one that's disciplined. It knows what to allow, it knows when to fight, it knows what to dismiss. If your thoughts were people, some deserve your attention, others deserve the door. So be ruthless. Cast out the thoughts that drain you. Invite in the ones that build you. And repeat this process every single day. Why? Because the world won't stop trying to program you. So you must stay ahead. There's a war for your mind. Every ad, every headline, every comment, it all tries to install belief systems. Most people don't even notice. But not you. You're aware. You realize your thoughts shape your actions, and your actions create your outcomes. That's why your first duty every morning isn't to react or worry. Your first duty is to plant, to declare, to shape your inner world before the outer world gets a chance. You're not reacting to life, you're writing the script from within. Picture a builder stepping onto a plot of land. There's nothing there yet, but he sees it in his mind. A structure, a home. That vision drives his first move. His team shows up, materials arrive. Brick by brick, it becomes real. But without the vision, nothing happens. That's you. Every day, you step into the field of your life. The question is, what are you building with your thoughts? A fortress or a ruin? Vision is the start. Thought is the trigger. Action is the proof. So ask yourself, what kind of harvest are you planting in your mind today? When you look at your life a year from now, will you see the results of deliberate, disciplined thinking or the effects of unchecked negativity? The choice is always yours. No one else has access to your mind unless you give it. No one else controls your inner dialogue unless you surrender it. You are the gatekeeper. You are the gardener. You are the builder. Don't just think strong thoughts. Live them. Let them shape your speech, your posture, your decisions. Let them reflect in your standards, your focus, your endurance. And when doubt rises, because it always will, you answer it with proof. You move anyway. You act anyway. You build anyway. Because you are not waiting for your world to change. You're changing your thoughts and letting those thoughts change your world. Your mind is not a mirror of the past. It's a map of your future. Design it wisely. Fill it intentionally. Protect it fiercely. And speak this truth each morning. My thoughts create my world, because they do. And that world, it begins now, in you. I am guided by purpose, not emotion. Men who are ruled by emotion drift. Their lives are unstable, shaped by the weather of their moods. One day they're full of fire, the next they're scattered ash. They chase comfort like it's a reward, but all it brings is stagnation. Their actions depend on feelings, And because feelings shift, so does their life. But the man guided by purpose, he is different. He is steady. He walks with direction. He's not cold, but he is calculated. He's not cruel, but he is clear. He is dangerous in the best way, because he cannot be swayed by the noise around him. He is led not by impulse, but by intent. Every morning, you stand at a crossroads. On one side, the road of emotion. It's seductive. It offers comfort, indulgence, excuses. It whispers, take it easy. On the other side, the road of purpose. It offers resistance. It demands effort. It whispers, stay the course. One leads to regret. The other leads to greatness. Most men choose the first. But you must choose the second. Because ease will lie to you, but purpose never will. It might be hard, but it's honest. It might stretch you, but it grows you. Say it now. I am guided by purpose, not emotion. That is your compass, your internal truth. Let it anchor your mind before the world pulls at your nerves. When fear tells you to shrink, remember your aim. When fatigue begs for comfort, remember your aim. When critics laugh, when friends don't understand, when temptation knocks, remember your aim. Purpose makes you unshakable. It reminds you that you are not your feelings, you are your decisions. And those decisions must come from vision, not from mood. So how do you align yourself every day? You write your mission. Simple, clear, real. Not a fantasy, not a wish list. A statement of what you stand for and where you're going. And you read it every morning. Let it speak louder than your doubts. Let it remind you of the bigger picture. Because when you lose your why, you fall prey to how you feel. But when you keep your purpose close, you act with intention. You rise with clarity. You move with discipline. You do what must be done regardless of emotion. Picture a sailor in the middle of a storm. The wind screams. The waves rise like walls. Panic tempts him to toss the compass, to follow his gut, but he doesn't. He holds the course, not because it's easy, but because the compass doesn't lie. He knows storms pass, but direction must remain. So he holds steady, and soon the clouds part. The man led by purpose does the same. When the emotional storms come, and they will, he doesn't toss his mission aside. He anchors to it. And because of that, he survives. He wins. And this doesn't mean you become emotionless. It means you don't let emotion drive. Feelings are passengers. Purpose is the wheel. You don't ignore what you feel. You simply don't bow to it. If anger rises, you channel it. If fear stirs, you confront it. If joy comes, you let it fuel you. But none of these emotions dictate your actions. Your mission does. This is what makes you strong. Not how you feel, but what you do when the feelings come. Emotion is momentary. Purpose is permanent. Understand this. Mood is a liar. It will convince you to skip the workout, to avoid the call, to delay the action. But every time you obey your feelings, you weaken your edge. And every time you choose purpose over emotion, you sharpen it. Discipline becomes easier. Direction becomes clearer. Confidence becomes earned. Not because you were always inspired, but because you acted when you weren't. That's what separates you from the average man. You don't drift. You decide. Most men wait for motivation to strike before they move. But the man led by purpose moves first and lets motivation catch up. He doesn't need external hype. He has internal fire. And when that fire flickers, he fans the flame with action. Not delay, not excuses, just one step forward and then another. Momentum doesn't come from mood. It comes from movement. That's why the first task of your day is sacred. It's not about checking a box. It's about declaring, I am in charge. You'll face distractions. People will offer paths that look easier. Emotions will tempt shortcuts. But you must stay rooted. Ask yourself, does this serve my mission? If the answer is no, let it go. That single filter will eliminate 90% of what wastes your time. You don't need to be everywhere. You need to be direct. You don't need to feel good. You need to build good. That's how purpose makes you powerful. It simplifies life. You know what matters, and you move only in that direction. This is the path of builders, of warriors, of men who are hard to stop because they've already decided. While others debate, they act. While others react, they stay focused. While others crumble, they rise again and again, not because they felt like it, but because they trained themselves to act from vision, not emotion. You must become that man, steady, clear, anchored, not perfect, but purposeful, not driven by feelings, but by fire that burns beyond comfort. So I ask you now, are your decisions today built on direction or on how you feel? Are you building your future with intention or just reacting to your emotions? If you're tired, good, work anyway. If you're afraid, good, step anyway. If you're uncertain, good, decide anyway. Because the man guided by purpose cannot be stopped by mood. He moves by principle. And in a world full of men led by emotion, he becomes rare, he becomes respected, he becomes unshakable. Let others drift, you drive. Let others wait, you begin. Let others bow to feelings, you lead with fire. Your compass is not comfort. Your compass is purpose. Hold to it. Speak it aloud each morning. I am guided by purpose, not emotion. And then prove it by how you live, by what you do, by the discipline in your hands and the mission in your eyes. That is the way. That is your path, and you are born to walk it. I choose what I become. You are not born finished, you are born capable, full of potential, but unfinished by design. Every day you rise, you are becoming something, stronger or weaker, sharper or duller, closer or further from who you're meant to be. The question is not if you're changing, it's who you are becoming, and whether you are choosing it. Most men don't. They move through life unconsciously. They repeat habits they didn't choose. They carry labels they didn't earn. They let their surroundings shape their identity instead of taking that responsibility for themselves. But the man who rises, he decides who he will be, and then he builds it, brick by brick. Most men drift, not because they're lazy, but because they never learned to direct. They wake up and repeat yesterday. They react to traffic, to emails, to moods, to people's opinions. Their life becomes a series of reactions, never creation. But the men who rise act with intention. They walk like sculptors, carefully, precisely, decisively. They do not wait to be told who they are. They forge it. They know life doesn't hand you identity. You must build it. Every word, every decision, every response is a tool, and with it they carve their character. Each morning you must claim it. I choose what I become, not someday, not when it's easier. Now, today. Don't wait for someone to name you. Don't hope that one day your purpose will fall from the sky. You don't discover who you are, you decide it. You speak it. You walk in that image before anyone else believes it. The world will wait to see proof. You don't, you lead with conviction. The day you stop asking, who am I, and start declaring, here's who I'm becoming, that is the day you begin to take real control of your life. How do you shape your becoming? Through alignment. Your desired identity must shape your daily actions. If you say you want to be disciplined, but you snooze the alarm, you're becoming something else. If you want to be a leader but shrink from responsibility, your actions are molding a follower. The man who rises doesn't hope his actions match his dreams. He forces them to. Action precedes title. You don't become strong and then act strong. You act strong again and again until it becomes who you are. You act it into existence. Picture a potter at his wheel. His first spin is awkward. The clay wobbles. His hands are unsure. The shape is unclear, but he doesn't stop. He keeps pressing, shaping, refining. Day after day, he turns rough formlessness into form, until one day, the clay obeys. It bends beneath his intention. It becomes what he sees in his mind. That is your life. You are both the potter and the clay. The hands that shape you are your habits. The pressure that molds you is your daily discipline. And the vision? That's the man you're becoming, if you stay at the wheel. Becoming is not a feeling, it's a process. And processes are built on repetition. What you do consistently is what you become permanently. That's why you must treat each day like a sculptor treats his chisel, with purpose. Don't live by default. Don't move through your day unconsciously. Begin with the end in mind. Ask, what kind of man am I building today? And then make sure your actions match that blueprint, because you are building whether you mean to or not. Every decision is either shaping you into strength or softening you into regret. This is not about perfection. It's about pattern. Your first try may be messy. Your hands may tremble. But if you press forward with intention, the clay starts to listen. Life starts to yield to your design. The world may still test you. Doubts may still rise. But now you're moving forward on purpose. You no longer ask the world to define you. You walk into each day as the author of your becoming. And with time, your consistency turns into confidence. Because there's no confidence like the kind you earn, others will not understand it first. They'll say you've changed, that you're obsessed, that you're different. Good. Because most people fear intentional change. They'd rather drift and call it peace. You'd rather struggle and call it becoming. Do not expect applause. Do not expect anyone to believe in your process until they see results. And even then, some won't. But you will know. You'll know because you built it, because you chose it, because you didn't wait, you worked. Every step forward becomes your signature. Every small win becomes your stamp. The cost of becoming is discomfort. It demands effort when you don't feel like it. It demands decisions when your mind seeks delay. But what's the alternative? To stay the same? To coast? To become by default? That's the path of regret. That's the life of a man who wakes up one day and wonders where his power went. Don't be that man. Be the one who molds. Be the one who walks toward a future he's actively designing, not one passively assigned. So ask yourself, are you becoming by design or by default? Are your habits pushing you toward your vision or pulling you away from it? Are you choosing your thoughts, your standards, your direction, or letting others set it for you? This is your life, your name, your legacy. No one else will build it for you. No one else can. The hammer is in your hand. The wheel is spinning. The clay is in place. Now press. Now shape. Now build. Don't wait to feel ready. Don't wait to be recognized. Start shaping now. Start walking like the man you want to be. Not tomorrow, today. Let each day be a stroke on the sculpture of your life. Let your consistency be the force that transforms uncertainty into clarity. You are not finished. You are not stuck. You are becoming. And that becoming is your responsibility, your art, your power. Speak it now. I choose what I become. Then act like it's already true. Because if you act with intention long enough, it will be. No one owes me, and that's my power. It's a dangerous belief to think the world owes you something. Many men live trapped in that illusion, waiting, wishing to respect, money, love, recognition. They want it handed to them, as if life is a fair deal or an owed reward. But the truth is this, nothing is guaranteed. Not love, not fairness, not success. And that truth, it's not a curse, it's your power. Because once you stop believing you're owed, you begin to realize the full power of what you can earn. That shift from expectation to ownership is where transformation begins. Because the man who stops expecting starts building. When you expect nothing, you gain everything. You stop waiting for someone to pick you. You stop wishing someone would save you. You stop begging for opportunities, and instead you create them. You walk into every day with your sleeves rolled up, not your hands out. That mindset frees you. It puts the weight of your life on your own shoulders, not as a burden, but as a privilege. You are no longer a passive receiver. You become the active builder. No one can take that from you because no one gave it to you. You earned it. You owned it. Each morning, say it. No one owes me, and that's my power. Let that be the anthem in your bones. Let it drown out self-pity. Let it silence blame. Because the man who believes he is owed walks around with entitlement in his eyes and resentment in his heart. But the man who believes he owes himself everything, that man becomes unstoppable. He doesn't depend, he doesn't beg, he doesn't lean on others to carry his vision. If someone helps him, he's grateful. But if no one shows up, he still rises. Because he was never waiting to begin with. So how do you own this power? First, refuse to complain. Complaining is the language of the powerless. Every time you complain, you give your power away. You say, this thing controls me. But when you stay silent and act, you take the wheel. Second, reject envy. Envy poisons potential. It tricks you into thinking someone else's success means there's less for you. But success isn't a pie, it's a fire. Light your own. Lastly, stop measuring your value by what others give. Measure it by what you create. Be the man who walks into the room with something to offer, not someone who waits to be noticed. Life will test this mindset. People will ignore your effort. They will forget your name. They may not say thank you, but you must keep creating anyway. Why? Because your value isn't based on applause. It's based on output. It's built on integrity. You become the kind of man who brings value into every space, not because it's returned, but because it's who you are. You stop looking around wondering what you're missing and start asking, what can I build here? What can I give? That is the difference between the entitled and the empowered. Picture a man standing in an empty field. There's no fruit, no shelter, no applause. Others pass by and say, there's nothing here, and they keep walking. But this man stays. He digs, he plants, he waters, he works in silence while others mock, and in time, something grows, not by luck, not by handout, but by hands that didn't wait. He feeds not just himself, but others. Why? Because he understood that destiny is not developed. He didn't wait. He worked. And that made all the difference. Most people want to be rescued. They wait for better circumstances, a better job, a better relationship, a better year. But all waiting does is rob you of the time you could be building. The truth is, no one is coming. And that should excite you. Because if no one is coming, that means it's up to you. And when it's up to you, that means you can begin now. You're not waiting on permission. You're not trapped by delay. You're just one decision away from motion. And motion creates momentum. Momentum creates everything. You must stop asking the world for something it was never designed to give you. Recognition, validation, permission, these are shadows. Chase them and you'll exhaust yourself. Build your value and they'll eventually follow. But even if they don't, you'll be strong anyway. Because you'll know, I built this. You'll walk taller, speak clearer, think sharper. Not because someone crowned you, but because you earned your crown in private. That's what makes your power untouchable. When you stop expecting others to deliver your life to you, you begin delivering it yourself. You stop checking who liked your work and start doing more work. You stop needing to be understood and start understanding yourself. That independence breeds confidence because the man who builds alone is no longer afraid of being alone. And that man becomes dangerous in the best way because no one can take from him what he didn't borrow. So ask yourself now, are you expecting someone to deliver your destiny, or are you delivering it yourself? Are you waiting for someone to open the door, or are you building a new door with your bare hands? Are you hoping for someone to believe in you, or have you decided to believe in yourself so deeply that nothing can stop you? The answers to these questions will shape your path. They will define your days. They will determine whether you live with quiet resentment or rise with relentless responsibility. Repeat it one more time. No one owes me, and that's my power. Then step into the world and prove it with your work, with your voice, with your grit. Let others wait. Let others wish. You build, you deliver, you become. I am unshaken by criticism or praise. Praise can make you soft. It can lull you into comfort, into ego, into thinking you've arrived. Criticism can make you bitter if you let it. It can stir resentment, plant doubt, and shrink your stride. But the man who rises above both, he becomes unshakable. He does not build his life on compliments, nor does he crumble at insults. He stands on something firmer, his principles, his vision, his values. These do not waver with public opinion. They do not shift with mood or moment. They hold like steel in a storm. Most men are puppets to opinion. They float on the approval of others. One kind word inflates them, one harsh word crushes them. Their identity is fragile, borrowed from applause and shattered by criticism. But you are not most men. You must become rooted in something deeper. You must learn to keep walking regardless of what is said. Because if your motivation depends on praise and your momentum dies under criticism, you are not yet free. Each morning, remind yourself, I am unshaken by criticism or praise. Let this become your armor. Let it quiet both the cheering crowd and the bitter chorus. If a man applauds you, nod and keep building. If a man mocks you, nod and keep building. Neither voice holds the pen to write your destiny. Your story is not theirs to shape. Your worth is not theirs to weigh. You rise, you fall, you move, not because of what they say, but because of what you've decided to build. How do you remain grounded in a world obsessed with opinions? You must know who you are. You must define what you stand for before the world tells you who to be. Don't perform for the crowd. Don't shrink from their disapproval. Do the work that matters, whether anyone sees it or not. Live by conviction, not applause. Let your actions be guided by principle, not popularity. If no one claps, you still build. If everyone claps, you still refine. Purpose is your compass, not praise. Picture a great tree in the wind. The storm rages. The sky shouts. The branches whip and sway. Leaves fall. But the trunk stands tall. Why? Because the roots are deep. That is who you must be. The world will push. People will throw their voices like wind. Some will lift, some will tear. But if you are rooted, if your identity is not above the soil, but underneath it, you will not fall. You may sway, you may shake, but you will stand. The praise of others feels good. That's normal, but don't need it. Accept it with humility, then return to work, because praise is not payment, it's a breeze. And if you chase it, you'll become addicted to being seen instead of committed to becoming real. Likewise, criticism will come. It always does. Some of it may be useful, sharpening. Most of it won't be. Let it pass like wind through branches. Don't absorb it. Don't replay it. Just refocus and continue. Ask yourself, are you bending to opinion or rooted in purpose? Are your decisions based on your values or on your fear of how others will respond? When someone claps, do you stop and savor? When someone insults, do you shrink and delay? These questions matter because your freedom, your power, your clarity, they all live on the other side of detachment from opinion, not indifference, but independence. You don't have to hate feedback. You just don't have to be owned by it. You must train yourself to build in silence, to move when it's lonely, to show up when no one is watching, because most of your greatness will be forged in private. The world only sees results, but you see the hours. You see the mornings where no one believed. You see the nights where doubt screamed, and yet you still moved. That's where your strength comes from. Not applause, not acceptance, but from knowing you did the work anyway. A man's true foundation is revealed not when everyone supports him, but when no one does. When the room is cold, when the comments cut, when the world misunderstands. If you can still build there, still speak your truth, still hold your standard, you are free, you are rare, because you are no longer ruled by the moment, you are led by mission. And that kind of man, he can't be stopped, because nothing outside of him controls what he does within. So what do you root yourself in? In truth, in purpose, in vision, in the values you choose before you are tested. Write them down, live by them, and when the world's winds howl, return to them. Let them be your anchor, let them be your weight. They will keep you from being swept away by the noise, because there will always be noise. But noise only moves the unrooted. Let this be your mantra. Praise does not define me. Criticism does not defeat me. I build anyway. Say it, then prove it. Every single day, in silence, in storms, in the shadows and in the light. Let others talk. Let others watch. You build. You grow. You become. Unshaken, unbent, rooted, ready, always. I am the cause, not the effect. Too many men live as if life is something that happens. They move through the day like passengers on a bus they never chose. When things go wrong, they complain. When opportunities pass, they blame timing, people, or luck. They react to the weather, the news, their moods, constantly shifting, never grounded. They live like prisoners to fate. But real success begins the moment you stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what am I going to do about it? You are not a product of your surroundings. You are the producer of your outcomes. When you realize this, you stop waiting and you start building. Each morning, declare this truth: I am the cause, not the effect. Say it aloud. Say it with conviction. You are not some leaf blown around by wind. You are the wind. You move. You initiate. You create. Your life is not an accident. It's an assignment. You are not waiting for someone else to set the tone. You are the tone setter. You drive the energy in the room. You start the fire when others are still looking for matches. And once you adopt this mindset, your entire presence changes. You go from passive to powerful, from reactive to relentless. How do you live this truth in practical terms? Start by acting before anything outside you speaks. Before the world gives you a signal, you give yourself a mission. Don't wait for the boss to give you direction. Don't wait for the market to shift. Don't even wait for your mood to improve. Lead yourself. Make the first move. Set the tone for your morning with motion. Get up and command your day. Decide what kind of man you're going to be, then act like him before the world even opens its eyes. Ask yourself, are you waiting for conditions or creating them? Most people wait for perfect timing. They wait until they feel ready. They wait for someone to believe in them. But life doesn't reward the man who waits. It rewards the one who moves anyway. If you want to win, you must take responsibility for your environment. You must become the architect of your hours, the initiator of your ideas. Stop waiting for the door to open. Build the door. Build the key. Build the entire damn house if you have to. Refuse to live like a thermometer, rising and falling with the emotional temperature around you. Be the thermostat. Set the temperature. Set the tone. Walk into rooms and bring calm where there is panic. Bring energy where there is laziness. Bring clarity where there is chaos. When others are guessing what the day will bring, You decide what it will bring, and then you make it so. That's how leaders move. That's how winners think, not as effects, but as causes. You are the initiator. You are the fire starter. You are the man who creates movement when others are stuck. If you wait for the world to applaud you, you'll be waiting forever. Applaud yourself with action. Clap with your effort. Celebrate with your discipline. The world doesn't owe you recognition. It owes you nothing. So stop waiting for signs. Be the signal. Be the reason things begin, the reason momentum shows up, the reason something changes today. That is the mindset of a builder, a warrior, a man who leads his life. And this isn't about being aggressive, it's about being intentional. It's about waking up with a target and hitting it, even if it's small, even if it's quiet. Movement builds power, action sharpens belief. You don't need to conquer the whole mountain today, just take one decisive step. But make sure you initiate it. Make sure it's your standard that starts the chain reaction. Because when you consistently take the lead in your own life, you begin to influence everything around you. The world respects the man who creates momentum. Why? Because most don't. Most hope. Most drift. Most delay. But when a man begins to move, the world adjusts. It responds. Opportunities notice. People notice. Not because you were loud, but because you were clear. You were disciplined. You were consistent. You chose to be the cause. And eventually the world bends to those who act with purpose long enough. So ask yourself right now, what am I waiting for that I could be building? Where have I been passive when I should be powerful? What excuse have I believed that needs to die? These questions matter because you were not born to react, you were born to create. And once you own that fully, you will no longer be a victim of conditions. You'll be the man who builds the conditions that others admire. Repeat it every morning. I am the cause, not the effect. Then prove it in your actions, in your presence, in your standards. Refuse to be ruled by mood, fear, or delay. Set your pace, set your purpose, and let the world feel your impact, not because it handed you anything, but because you showed up and made it happen. I don't need permission to begin. Most people are waiting. They wait for the mentor, the job offer, the sign. They wait for someone to tell them they're ready. They wait for applause, for recognition, for the right moment that never comes. But the greats, they don't wait. They move. They take the first step long before the crowd forms. They act without confirmation. They begin with what they have, even when it isn't enough. That's what separates the remembered from the forgotten. The courage to begin without permission. While others stall in fear, they build in silence. And that silence becomes strength. There's no gatekeeper blocking your path, except the one you've imagined. You think someone must give you the green light. That someone has to validate your potential. But that's the lie. You don't need permission to build your life. You are not on trial. You are not waiting in line. Every morning, declare it with fire. I don't need permission to begin. Say it loud enough to drown out every doubt, because it's the truth. When you own this truth, you become dangerous in the best way. You don't wait for someone to ask for your ideas. You speak. You don't wait for someone to offer you a seat. You build your own table. You don't need applause to act. You don't need permission to move. While others talk about what they're planning, you are already creating. While they hesitate, you make decisions. While they overthink, you execute. The man who understands that he can begin at any moment becomes unstoppable because he is no longer ruled by fear, approval, or timing. How do you break free from the waiting trap? First, stop asking if you're ready. You won't feel ready. That's a lie your mind tells to protect you from risk. Second, stop measuring your worth by who supports you. You don't need a following to start, only a mission. Look in the mirror. Nod once. Begin. Treat the next hour like it matters, like it's the first brick of something massive, because it is. Movements don't begin in stadiums. They begin in small rooms, in quiet hours, with men who decide instead of wait. Imagine a man standing in a workshop. He has tools in his hand. He has a vision in his heart, but he doesn't move. He's waiting for approval, waiting for someone to say, yes, you're ready. Days pass, then years. The tools rust, the vision fades. Now picture another man. No applause, no mentor, just raw ambition, a quiet decision. And he begins, alone, focused, relentless. By the end of the year, one man is still waiting. The other, he has built something real, brick by brick without permission. What are you still waiting for? Whose voice are you placing above your own? Is it the voice of a parent, a teacher, a stranger on the internet? You are giving someone else power over your future. But here's the truth. The most important yes is the one you give yourself. The moment you stop waiting for someone to choose you and you choose yourself is the moment your life shifts. That's the moment you stop watching others build and start becoming the builder. You don't need perfect conditions to begin. You don't need the full picture. You need a spark and the courage to move on it. If you wait for clarity, you'll wait forever. Clarity comes from action. You learn as you go. You shape the path by walking it. There is no substitute for forward motion. Start before you're ready. Start before you're known. Start before you're celebrated. Because the only man who reaches the top is the one who started climbing. This doesn't mean you rush blindly. It means you trust your instincts more than your fears. It means you value progress over perfection. It means you stop looking for applause and start looking for bricks to lay. Every small act, every early morning, every late night, every risk taken without approval builds something. And over time, those bricks form your legacy, not because someone said you were qualified, but because you acted like you were. There's a lie in the world that says you must be chosen, that you need a degree, a follower count, a job title to begin. But the truth is, history was changed by people who refused to wait. They picked up the hammer, they opened the door, they declared who they were becoming, and then became it. Not through permission, through persistence, through boldness, through self-belief. You were never meant to sit quietly and hope. You were meant to build loudly and live boldly. So repeat it again, with force. I don't need permission to begin. Let it shake your hesitation. Let it wake up your ambition. Let it remind you that your power isn't waiting somewhere out there. It's already in you. You have the tools. You have the vision. And if you start now, the world won't be able to ignore you. One day they'll ask, who gave him permission? And the answer will be no one. You gave it to yourself. Now move, decide, begin, and never wait again. My standards create my results. You don't get what you want, you get what you tolerate. Life will always meet you at the level of your standards, not your wishes. It doesn't care what you hope for, it responds to what you accept. If you let laziness in, you'll get lazy results. If you make excuses, you'll get a life built on them. But if you raise your standards, your world starts to rise with you. Your standards are your ceiling. And if you want to go higher, you've got to lift that ceiling. You don't wait for life to upgrade you. You decide to upgrade yourself. That's when everything changes. Each morning, remind yourself of the truth. My standards create my results. Not motivation, not luck, not opportunity. Standards. Because motivation fades. Opportunities come and go. But your standards are there when no one else is. They are the inner rules that say, this is who I am, and this is what I accept from myself. They are the real difference between average and exceptional. A man with high standards refuses to quit halfway. He doesn't cut corners when no one's looking. He doesn't cheat on his effort. He doesn't say that's good enough when he knows it isn't. He has a quiet agreement with himself to show up fully, to finish strong, and to never lie about how hard he tried. That's how excellence is built. Not with flair or noise, but with honor. And the true test of standards is not when people are watching, it's when they aren't. Because that's when your real self steps forward. So how do you live this way? First, you decide, really decide, what's non-negotiable in your life. What behaviors, disciplines, and thoughts are required for the man you're becoming. Define them clearly. Then ask yourself, what does my best look like when it's hard, when it's inconvenient, when I don't feel like it? That's your standard, not the easy version. The version you hold when excuses are easy and results are distant. You don't rise to your goals, you fall to your standards. So set them high and hold that line. Picture a craftsman who builds custom furniture. He could cut corners to save time, use cheaper wood to boost profits, skip the parts no one sees, but he doesn't, even on the underside of the table. The part that never gets noticed, he does it right. Why? Because it's not about who sees it, it's about who he is. That's the power of high standards. They're not for the crowd, they're for the man in the mirror. They turn you into someone you respect, even in silence. Ask yourself this, are your standards shaping your greatness or just defending your excuses? Because that's what weak standards do. They give you a place to hide. They whisper, this is fine, when you know it isn't. But strong standards challenge you. They make you stretch. They make you face your weaknesses and rise through them. If you want a stronger life, don't beg for better days. Become a better man. Raise your internal minimums. And soon, your external results will start catching up. The man who demands more from himself will always surpass the one who waits for perfect conditions. Why? Because perfect conditions are rare, but discipline is always available. The man with high standards doesn't need everything to be perfect. He just needs his word. He holds it. He shows up. He acts like greatness is expected because it is. And because of that, life gives him what it never gives the man who keeps negotiating with his own potential. Your standards are your invisible structure. They hold you up when everything else feels shaky. They are the difference between finishing and flinching, between progress and plateau, and no one can set them for you. You have to choose them. You have to say, this is how I work. This is how I think. This is what I demand from myself, even when it's hard, even when I'm tired, even when no one's watching. That's how excellence is formed, not in grand gestures, but in small consistencies. So start here, today. Raise one standard. Maybe it's how you speak to yourself. Maybe it's how you show up to your work. Maybe it's how you finish what you start. Make one part of your life non-negotiable and stick to it. Because the moment you stop accepting less from yourself, the world starts doing the same. That's how growth begins. That's how success is built. That's how you rise. Say it again, and say it with conviction. My standards create my results. Now prove it. Every hour, every choice, every step forward. Let your standards speak louder than your feelings. Let them raise your effort, your focus, your life. You don't need perfect motivation. You need strong standards. Raise them. Honor them, and everything else will follow. My legacy is built today. You won't be remembered for your plans, you'll be remembered for your actions. You're not waiting to leave a legacy, you're building it every day. Too many think legacy is some far-off reward, something that arrives in old age, carved in stone. But your legacy is made in the details, how you treat others, how you show up, how you choose when no one's watching. Each morning, tell yourself, my legacy is built today, not tomorrow, not someday, today. Because each word you speak and every task you complete becomes a brick in the monument you're building. So how do you craft it? Start with intention. Speak less, do more. Help others without needing credit. Pursue excellence when it's hard. Keep promises to yourself. Picture a man walking a dirt path. Every day he lays one stone. Others laugh. It looks like nothing. But year after year his path becomes a road, then a landmark, then a legacy. All because he built daily. Ask yourself, what kind of stone are you laying today? Don't chase monuments. Build them quietly, relentlessly. Every morning is a fresh chance to rise with strength, clarity, and purpose. Speak power into your day before the world speaks doubt into you. The words you choose become the life you live. So choose boldly, choose belief, and never forget your voice is your first victory. Start strong, and everything else will follow. Speak it, live it, become it.